And we are back on the Coach Mindset podcast, and I have a special guest for you all today. We have the Coach Michael, and today we're gonna go over a few things and talk about our plans we have for the future, and also a future podcast series that we have and are going to be doing on this podcast right here. So, Michael, give a little intro of who you are, where you're from. Where are you from?
I was born in St. Louis, Missouri, but I was adopted when I was about 5 years old to a family in Canada. Spent the majority of my life there until I decided to come down here for college. Well, I did 2 years of high school down here too, so I get in-state tuition. Plan ahead, plan smart, cheaper. There's a way. Always wanted to be in the restaurant industry, so I took business. Worked at a couple of different restaurants here in Lexington, Kentucky. Found a real loving for the Italian restaurant Carrabba's. It's been there for about 5 years now. Worked my way up throughout the from host to car side to serving to bartending to all the way through the back of house as well. To then realizing I wanted to own my own restaurant and go a different path. Found a different job, regular 9 to 5. And so I can earn money to get my own goal in the future of owning my own restaurant. So that's up to speed with me at the moment. And every day is changing, and you just strive for the greatness. Let's go.
How did you come to the realization you wanted to get and open your own restaurant? Like, that's not, a lot of people have that dream, but a lot of people, they have that dream towards like the beginning of their life. They're like, man, I like food, and I want to share my passion for food with others. And I've known this since I was a kid. How did you go from being a child in the foster system and going from Canada to the United States, different colleges, and now you're just in food? Like, what brought you to that realization?
Well, even at a young age, I always enjoyed food. I thought of one time actually being a chef, but that route was just completely different for me. More of an eater than a maker. I was very fortunate with the parents that I had been adopted with. They always tried us to expand our horizons, try new things. Whether it be some random tofu, whether it be duck tongue. There's some. I know it's totally random, and I tell you, I like duck tongue. I swear it tastes like chicken, bro. It's one of it's amazing. Okay, duck tongue. Try it.
Chicken.
Just chicken tastes like
duck,
chicken.
Same thing.
And it's their tongues. I don't know. But I was very fortunate, like I said, with my parents always was wanting us to try new things. Heck, you couldn't even leave the table if you hadn't had a salad. So they instilled in us that eating well, trying new things, don't put off things. Like, I couldn't go to if we had a dinner party at one of my mom's friends' houses. If you didn't try something, if they brought something and you didn't try it, she was kind of like, no, you try everything. Like, they made that dish for this. Now, I'm not gonna lie, some of these were gross, but I mean, most kids have a hatred towards everything green. I loved it. Brussels sprouts, peas, beans, you name it. I love tofu. I'm nowhere near vegetarian. I eat steak at least 3 or 4 times a week. But there are things in other groups that I was like, yeah, I love it. My mom makes amazing vegetable stir fry. Mm-hmm. No meat at all. She puts a little green curry sauce in it. It's amazing. And I could devour it. My dad makes a nice vegan stew. It's amazing. You just got to try new things. Don't be so closed off to... And that's what's wrong with a lot of people. I know some kids that only eat chicken fingers and fries.
That was me.
Yeah.
That was me all
chicken
the time,
fingers and fries, bro. Yeah. And then boom, what happened? Try something new. I'm like, hey, man, there's some stuff out here besides just chicken fingers and fries.
I think what really pushed me to do it was the people around me.
Yeah. Okay.
What were trying things new, not just telling me, but they were eating it around me. Yeah. So kind of like you change your environment, you change what you eat.
As you grow older, your taste buds are
and my taste buds changed
mature,
a little bit more mature.
So with that, and still with all just the different types of food that I've had, and the places that we also got to travel as a family, that's why I just have the love of food. It wasn't always my first choice to be in the restaurant business. I mean, I studied business just because it's business. There's so many other aspects you can do just outside of just with a business degree. What it really was that changed it for me was we had when I first started Carrabba's, we had the owner at the time. His name was Brian Henderson, and he told me basically, what are you going to do in your next few years? Like, I know you're about to finish college. You're managing a Subway right now with maybe taking on another one. Is that something you want to do, or you want to put your full time into this? Because you've been talking about the restaurant industry, how you would do this, this, and this for it, or you would change this, and you have ideas. I think this is something that you can really get into, but you have to have a plan for it. Mm-hmm. So what I did was I quit the Subways and moved full-time over to Carrabba's. Mm-hmm. Brian taught me everything. We had a manager after him. That's Andrew Dutton. He was one of the youngest owners in Carrabba's franchise history. He was 34 right now, and he had it 3 years ago, so he was 31. I'm just turning 30 this year, so just clearly the guy knew what he was talking about and what he was doing for them to accept him right away, and let's give him that position to be a full-on proprietor, franchisee. So
is that something you wanted to do? Is be a proprietor?
See, that's when it changed for me. I didn't want to have another boss. There's 15 people above our proprietor right now. Well, probably not 15, but he has to answer to someone who answers to someone who answers to someone. Now, there's probably always going to be a boss, okay? But for me, I want to start where I can be my own boss. Now, investors are investors. I think we talked about it in one of our live feeds. Mm-hmm. Now, I have a couple that wants to invest in a restaurant with me. I think investors are different than having a corporate company. That's because, yes, investors have priorities that you have to meet, but not if you invest in the company yourself. And that's what it is. It's me investing in it as well, not just them. So it's try as much we can be equal partners, but let's just face it, I don't have the funds to just be walking up to a bartender and be like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's invest in that restaurant with you. I know. Okay. So at first, it's probably not going to be as equal as it could be, and we'll probably have to figure that out down the road. Mm-hmm. That's just how sometimes companies get started up. I mean, you watch Shark Tank. Well, I'll give you this, but I'm going to need. Well, and then they'll try to buy it back, and maybe in years forward, and that's my goal if that's anything that does happen with investors. But it came down to it that I wanted to be my own boss. Now I want to pick where I choose the liquor from, where I get the fresh fish from, where I get my. I mean, there's only a certain amount of things you can pick from, but with Carrabba's, if we wanted to go and get this type of bourbon over here, well, our distributor doesn't have that, and we're licensed to them, so boom, that's out of the question. Well, at our restaurant, we want to try one of these beers that's a seasonal one right now. That'd be great. Well, that's not one of the ones that Carrabba's allows us to have, or any other restaurant, too. That's not one of our ones that we allow. Mm-hmm. So there's limitations to things when you have a corporate company, and in any aspect, with restaurant, toy store, or whatever, there's going to be limitations of what you guys can do. I just want to limit my limitations. Mm-hmm. So I want to just be able to do as much more that I can without having to be limited with a boss's boss's boss. So that's what brought me to my decision to have my own restaurant.
Heard. As much as I want to get into more of how you want to go about doing it, I want to backtrack a little bit on focusing on maybe some of our whys, because it's something that's really, really important, and I feel like some people don't always think about. They go about the money and they go about the fame on having or owning a business and growing it, and they don't understand, maybe similar to what you're talking about, what scaling means. Sometimes scaling, the people you scale with or you scale because of, the investors have different goals and different goals that are not in exact alignment with what you're wanting. Mm-hmm. So knowing our why can be really, really, really important, so that you know who you're doing business with and what their intentions are for your business, whether or not it's to put not just money but time and effort into the business as well, or just to see a profit. Because there are just investors that just want to, here's 20, 30, 50K. I want 5, 10, 15% of the profits, and I want to see it annually. Yeah. That's what I want. And I want to know what your why is, not just in life, not just for the business, but in life as well.
I think I kind of got into the business aspect of it all. What I want to do with the restaurant. For the life part of it all, the whole, you can, I guess it kind of dips in, it's kind of a two-way street. It kind of dips into both. Expansion, obviously, money is what's gonna provide for if I do have kids and stuff like that, schools and everything like that. It's gonna factor into the business part, but also go into your personal why on why you're doing it the way you're doing it, because and it is a greedy reason. Let's just say if I have that restaurant, we can branch out to do a food truck. Okay, well, that food truck and that restaurant is going to have food that we're not going to use. Okay, well, you guys know how I'm really big into trying to get back into the community. Well, all that food that we have right there, well, why can't I bring it down to boom there over to another soup kitchen or something like that? We could have a deal on Sundays where you come down to the food truck over here, not to the restaurant, because that's just chaos. But the food truck right here from a morning time right here, and we'll serve you this. So it's also a personal thing, but also it's also good for my business, because that's also word of mouth that, hey, the news might catch on, and boom, this guy's doing this over here. And what's that? That's more revenue coming in. We can get another food truck. We can maybe open up another restaurant. So as much as the why is all personal, like I want to be able to give as much back as I can, because the more I can, the better the business does, the more money I have, the more things I can offer up. Like we say every time in this, unfortunately, it is what money is the one thing that people do work for. I mean, some people say if you love your job, is it really working? But would you do your job if it was free? That's the follow-up question. Yes, you love your job. That's great. So it's not really a job. Okay. But would you do that every day, 9 to 5 or whatever your schedule is, if it was free?
Maybe it depends on circumstances.
Oh, yes. Oh,
because the bills don't stop. If the bills stopped and the money stopped, some people would.
Okay. Yeah.
But if the money stopped and the bills didn't, you're kind of like, no. Like, you kind of have to. You don't have a choice.
Yes. Okay.
So it's kind of like your depending on your circumstances will depend on your actions.
Yeah.
Because if I had to stop doing what I was doing right now because my bills kept going in and I wasn't getting paid to be a motivational speaker or a life coach or to host these different events, then I probably would stop so I can focus on making money.
Yeah.
And at least being able to provide for my family, because now I have a newborn, I have responsibilities, but I wouldn't completely stop doing it. Okay. I would still do it for free. I would just limit myself.
Okay. Yeah.
Because it's still something I enjoyed, something that fuels me, but I wouldn't directly put all my energy into something that I'm not getting any benefit from financially.
Okay.
What I might end up doing is sacrificing. It's the deal about sacrifice. You can sacrifice now, or you can sacrifice later. But either way, you're gonna have to sacrifice.
Yeah.
So I would short term, 10 years, grind my butt off, doing something maybe I didn't like, but made a lot of money. Flipped it. Next 10 years, focus just on my passion, what I wanted to do.
This is exactly what I'm doing. I had to get a new job because I didn't want to go the route that was kind of given for me right there at the restaurant. I'd go new path, start a job that I don't hate, but it's not what I want to do. I want to be at the restaurant all day, every day if I could. But I know that's not what I want right now. That's my why. That's why I'm doing this, is so I can get to this restaurant in the future. So I can get to where I want to be. That's my why. So
your why right now is to sacrifice so you can get where you want?
Yeah, well, yes, sacrifice my, I guess, I wouldn't say happiness or anything. I'm happy. I'm not like a mope around here or anything like that, but sacrifice the time that I could be putting forward to being going back to being a key, and then going back to getting back in line for the next spot in the management, instead of demoting myself straight back down to part-time bartender, just there if you need me type thing. That's it. So sacrifice all the work I had done for 3.5 years just to go all the way back down, just so I can achieve a goal in the future.
So where do you see yourself? Like, what is the ideal vision of your future look like?
Working until I can do this, and then constantly putting money aside for my restaurant to where I can have the equity.
No, I mean like your actual vision. Like, what do you see yourself? It's a really generic question, But where do you see yourself 20 years from now? You have your restaurant. You're no longer saving. Mm-hmm. You may be saving towards scaling and building another one. Yeah. But like, where do you see yourself long term with the restaurant?
Let's say we go 20 years in advance here. Okay, I'm pushing 50 years old. Okay. All right, yeah. Pushing 50, about to be turned 50 years old.
You'll be in there. Okay. You'll be in there bartending while your employees are working. Be like, hey, I got a joke for you all.
Who do we know that does that?
You heard of that actress that stabbed herself?
Why you gotta do that one? Reese Witherspoon? No, with her fork. No, with her knife. Whatever the joke. I don't even know how I don't know it. I've heard it a billion times. But I didn't miss that one.
Where do you see yourself? 50 years old with your restaurant. Are you scaling? You have multiple? Do you have a franchise?
At this point, I would hope to have at least a franchise going, if not just the local where I'm at, just somewhere else out in that area as well. I'm not going to get into ideas what we have for the restaurant. That's because that's lock and key. You know how it is. Right? But in that area, it's a very good, prosperous area. So we're planning on that we could hopefully not just do one, but not if a second one. Like I said, something about a food truck. So 50 years from now, I don't plan to be at the restaurant per se, because hopefully in my head 10 years from now, that's when I already have the development, everything's already starting to open. We've already been open for at least a good couple of years. That's 10 years. 10 years after that, if we do not have a second restaurant or the food truck or in place, would it have been for nothing? No, because I still would have gotten my restaurant. Okay, now again, this is future. And this is like if everything goes, everything goes in place. Even if it doesn't go for the food truck, the second restaurant, I still have that sole restaurant, and maybe that'll even be enough if I can keep that going. I do what I do right now, and still have a happy family that we can go to that restaurant, and other families can go to that restaurant. That's just the goal. It's a goal for my family to be able to have something that might be able to last on for a generation or two. A legacy, yeah.
Okay.
So and maybe my son or daughter or whatever will be like, you know what? Now is the time. Let's start another. Let's scale it out. For me, it's just being able to open my own restaurant with the name that I pick, and it be my own. So whether franchise is out now or scales out when it happens. It's just as long as I get that one.
Right. Okay. So your goal is for the restaurant. What is, if maybe too under lock and key, but what is the restaurant's goal? Maybe not food wise exactly where you want it, what food you'll be serving. What is the goal going to be for the restaurant? Bring a part of the world to someone's taste bud.
Yeah.
Bring authenticity. Bring speed. Bring convenience. Like, what's going to be your goal?
We want to be a convenient, authentic restaurant is what I'm pushing for. If that makes sense. So it's right there for you, and it's still bringing authentic, because it's not going to be an American twist. I'll let you know that right now. It's not going to be an American style. But so that's what we're going for, the authenticity of what kind of food we're going to be bringing in. I plan on bringing in.
So you have an authentic American like McDonald's.
It won't be fast food.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm asking. Okay. So we have an authentic American, which is what you don't want.
Yeah.
But it's authentic, but it's fast.
Yes. So look at it this way.
Are you looking more dining in?
Yes. So look at our restaurant. Mm-hmm. Okay. So let's say average check 45, 55 minutes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Minutes?
Well.
To get out.
Yeah, 45 to 55. Now, dining. Of course, dining. Of course, we have people that stay for
2 hours.
3. Yeah. Coming at 3, 4 o'clock. They stay till 9. I said, what are you still doing here? Like, I don't have that much to say to anyone. Dine rewards. Every 2 hours, I can put in another thing and we get it right. No, okay. I'm probably looking for around that kind of ticket time idea. So it can be a fast pace. You can burn your tables. I mean, it's possible for that. I mean, you can have tables in there for 30 minutes. Or just getting appetizers, stuff like that. So there are restaurants that we are considered a fine dining restaurant. We don't open till 4:00,
Right.
Monday through Thursday. And that is considered a fine dining restaurant if you're not doing lunch majority of your days that are open. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that off the bat I can open up at 4:00 and boom, we're good to go. That's probably not going to be able to happen. I mean, would I love that to happen? Of course, but that's not good word to mouth, and probably it's never going to happen. I doubt the first Carrabba's was able to open at 4:00.
No, I heard they used to be open all day.
Yeah, there's a bunch of them still open all day. Louisville, I think they do all day.
Yeah. There's a couple in Florida that are all day too.
They do all day as well. So, with a new kind of restaurant, you kind of need as many hours that you can possibly have to bring in that revenue, get the word of mouth out, get people talking about you. You don't want someone showing up to your restaurant at 2:00 in the afternoon trying to get a late lunch, and you don't open until 4. Well, there's different phases. Yeah, so maybe down the line you get 3 to 4 restaurants, and you become that kind of renowned place. Then it's a place where you go there for dinner. It's not a lunch place. Yeah, exactly. It's a lunch place.
Okay.
Now, I love what is it? The hospitality group did. Hospitality group is what does Malone's.
Oh, okay.
Malone's, OBC, Drake's, and Jake's. Drake's, Malone's, OBC. What all that Malone's stuff.
What's the bar one? The bar one. Is that Drake's?
No, Harry's.
Harry's.
Okay, so I love what they did. They have, and they're all in the same area too. So if you don't want you have the dinner, Malone's, which is your sit down, you're right there, and then you have your OBC if you want to just go for that like late lunch. They have the bar here right there. Now it's equally just as expensive, but it's more.
But it's not about the money. It's more the feel. What you get out of that experience.
Now Drake's is more of just the straight bar and then Harry's is just that classic little bistro bar area, and then you have aqua sushi on it. Like, like how they versatile. Their stuff is just perfect display of just great business, great business management. It's like, what we're gonna put it right here. What's the demographic? What can we sell, and how can we push it out?
Because I remember years ago, it was just Malone's that I remember.
Yeah.
It was just Malone's. Wild Eggs, that whole building wasn't there. It was nothing back there when you first drove. It was just Malone's. And you recognize it because to get into that Andover part of the town, you had to pass Malone's and you knew what it was.
Yeah.
And they've expanded on that past 15, 20 years now.
Just have started to open up slowly but slowly. A new. I don't be surprised if they're coming up something new for 2022.
Yeah, that's food time.
I
I doubt it, but like they get in almost every way.
Exactly. And that would be so amazing for it. And I mean, there's every restaurant opener, every restaurant owner wants to have that type of success. Now that's not gonna happen right away. They dug in. They picked spots in town, and they have strategic spots in Lexington alone. You have one straight in the heart of Hamburg, okay? Everyone knows where that Malone's is. Yeah. Tate's Creek right there. And what'd you do? You bought the next spot and put OBC, and then you also put a Drake's right in there as well.
Drake's over there?
Yeah, there's a Drake's, Malone's, and then there's OBC.
I did not know
there.
that. I knew the Malone's and OBC.
And then what's right there? You get off the New Circle, and you have like Richmond, Nicholasville, all in, like just coming in that area. If they put one near the mall, it's game over because they got Palomar Center right there as well.
I think Palomar Center maybe. No, mall might be better.
The Palomar Center one has all the older, rich, Harrodsburg area type people. Boom.
Perfect clientele.
Boom. What did Wild Eggs do? They put one there too. What did Wild Eggs do? They put one in Hamburg, right next to it.
Ooh, they're following it. Kind of like how you see, which they have a contract over. Kind of like how you see KFC, Wendy's, and Wendy's, KFC, and Pizza Hut. Always together doing it because there's 3 different types of markets you have for that. So someone can go get Wendy's if they want a sandwich, or they just want just chicken, or they can get just the.
How many times do you? Because you did car side as well. How many times when you would go give someone their car side food and you see their kid having like Chick-fil-A right next to you, and it's like.
So often.
Like, so you go out your kids some food and like.
Yep. Just because it was right next
to each other. Exactly. So if you could have 3 of your top companies in a 5 not even 5-block radius. Not even 5-block radius. They're like right next door. Mm-hmm. I had a reservation when we got shut down at Malone's this past Christmas one. We got shut down at everything got shut down except for outside seating. Reservation at Malone's. Well, apparently it never took. So I'm like, okay, well, guess what? I can go over to Harry's, get the same food and the same menu, and it doesn't even matter. Well, Harry's didn't have space. Okay, well, Drake's is right across the street. Drake's did have space, and I can get the same stuff, same food, same menu, same price, and every menu is different for each restaurant, but you can still, if I still wanted a porterhouse steak, the Malone style, yeah, I can still get it. It's the same company, same strips of meat. I'm not gonna say they like cosmetic monopoly wherever they are, where they eat, but where the restaurants are. But they do great. Just their CEO, whoever it is, this guy's just.
I don't think they're the only companies doing it. A lot of companies are doing that. They want to branch out. They know the opportunity that there is for different markets to stay and not adjust and adapt to different markets. It's kind of like digging your own hole. Because eventually people are going to want something different. Yeah. So to give them a taste of something that's still cooked a certain way, I think Bloomin' Brands is doing a similar thing with Bonefish, Fleming's, Outback, and Carrabba's. They are able to touch different markets but still have that same core concept. You know what I mean?
I mean, actually, look at us. Besides Fleming's, we're all in a mile radius, if that, maybe a mile and a half. Mm-hmm. Like we're right in the center. Outback's right here, and then you have Bonefish right there. Heck, Fleming's. I'm pretty sure that TGI Fridays shut down. You can buy that.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
Like what you talking about? We'll own the area.
That would be huge for us.
Oh my God, could you imagine?
All four in a mile.
Diamond baby. Now, there's an idea right there because actually that's a perfect idea. What is our competition for steakhouses in Hamburg?
Outback is one of them, which is something we own.
Yeah.
Malone's Steakhouse.
Bonefish doesn't, but we're Bonefish. We own Bonefish. That's us. Old Chicago doesn't do them. Logan's is closed right there, right next to the TGI Fridays. There isn't one. Fleming's, what you doing?
Not hamburger.
Fleming's, what you doing?
What type of food does Fleming's have?
It's a steakhouse.
Oh, no, actually, Ted's Montana Grill.
Oh, that's right.
That's Buffalo, though.
Yeah. But, dude, I was there on Valentine's night. I didn't go to Ted's. I went to the Tekka. Yeah. Ted's was dead.
Really?
Ted's was dead. And I've been in, and no offense to anyone who works at Ted's, but I've been in there a few times over there, and I don't think it's ever been like, oh, my God, like pumping. Not for a grip. And that's pre-COVID.
Wow. Well,
I've only been there once, to be honest with you.
Going back to your why, you want to scale, you want to expand, you want to be able to offer different foods to different markets. And that's going to be your goal. Your why on it is because you want to just bring different cultures to make sure I'm getting this right. Yeah. Bring different cultures, different areas of the world to different people so they can try it at an authentic way and not too bad of a price. You know what I mean? With that, where did your why come from? Why did you decide on giving someone food is your why?
I guess you could just bring it back. I didn't have a bad foster experience, but there are those that go through the system their whole lives. I think we touched base on that a couple live streams ago. And like I said, it's a two-way thing. Like there's also the money that I want involved in it as well, but the money I get can also go towards the help that I can give for foster kids or just the homeless as well. It's a system where kids just get placed in, and just sometimes they've forgotten, and sometimes the foster homes are also total crap, and they're just it's a cash thing. Foster parents do get paid. They get paid for each kid that they have. Sometimes pretty nice. So, and sometimes they're great. I still remember the first foster home I was in. The Rudolphs had a pool, they had this, they had that. I was very blessed, and then right away I get adopted off. I'm one of the fortunate ones, but sometimes kids go into foster care at 7, 8 years old, and they don't. And sometimes they get into the drug life or the gang life, and then there's this, and this. And I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but it goes a lot around in the black community. That's what happens. You get into both your parents did this and this, and then you go into foster care. Speaking on my own personal, both my parents had done something where they weren't able to take care of me anymore, and I had to go into foster care. They were doing something else where I had to go and and we went into foster care. That happens so many times, or even just the parents get killed, and they're boom, no one's close to kin, back into foster care, and they just go through the system. If I can even if I can even give jobs to keep kids off the streets, whether it be a host, a dishwasher, a busser, anything like that. Having a restaurant, and then maybe even, like I said, branching out and getting another restaurant. Those are at least 20 to some plus jobs in a restaurant, and not all of them are going to be having to be filled with like kids and delinquents or anything like that. But I do want to be able to help some of the people that go through the system that were wrongfully convicted, or just they have this meaningless charge on them where they can't get a job anywhere because they have a criminal record. Now, there are some jobs that do take convicted cons, but most jobs just pass them along because of the trouble that could come with it. Now, it might bite you in the ass one day, or the day you do it, or whatever it is. But I do not want to ever close myself off from helping everyone that I can. Whether you're Hispanic, Black, White, Asian, it doesn't matter. I always like to think your past is your past, and if you're moving forward in your future to help yourself get better, help the people around you get better, then I don't care what you did in your past. As long as you leave it in the past. Okay? Yes, the past is what shapes us, but it isn't what makes us. Okay? So.
Okay. So one of your goals for the business is going to be providing an opportunity for alternatives for people that need it, whether they be homeless, different struggles that people are going through. You want to be able to offer that for people.
Yeah.
Not just to try and eat the food, but to work at the establishment as well. Oh, okay. Well, we go through a lot of for what I'm developing for the coach mindset.
Camera went off over here.
Yeah. So what I'm trying to get going and try to put together for the coach mindset and the coach mindset in general, there are three aspects of it, and I feel like you really show these three aspects really, really well. The first one here is a true understanding of the world, because without a true understanding of the world, you can't really do as much as you can with not knowing. You know what I mean? If you don't know how something works, you can't help it grow. You can't offer different alternatives, different aspects of it without understanding it. That's number one. Like, you have to understand what you're wanting to do, your why, your goal, your mission, your vision, and develop a plan towards it. Your plan is going to be in understanding it.
Yeah.
Knowing what you want and don't want for your future. Second is going to be binary decision making. Is when you go into doing something, you make a decision, and it's like, what does binary mean? You know what it means?
Yeah.
You heard the term?
Yeah.
It's ones and zeros. Mm-hmm. That's how all computer programs are made. All computers, the language of them. Yeah. And it's literally a 1 or a 0. Either you're going to make a decision or you will not. You can't waver in that. If I got this from one of my pastors here. We with every decision that we make it 100%. It's ours. We own up to it. Every mistake that we make, it's 100% ours. We own up to it. Yeah. So if I'm going to make a decision, if I'm going to make a mistake, it's going to be an aggressive mistake. Okay. You may regret the outcome, but you don't regret the decision. You know what I mean? Yeah, perfect. So all the decisions that we make in our life come from having a true understanding of it, and then a binary decision making system that we use. We can't waver in it. You just do it. Number 3 is understanding that this is an infinite game. Whatever we do, whatever we invest our time in, it is an infinite game. You know the concept of the infinite game. A finite game is something with known players, fixed rules, and agreed upon objectives. Okay. It is the concept of hockey or basketball, football. You know who's playing. You know we have agreed upon rules. We agreed upon that whoever has the most points at the end of this time frame wins the game. Okay. We look at things in like a finite way when most of our life is infinite. When we go to do anything, a marriage, business, education, it's not finite. You don't hit the target and you ring the bell and you win. It is a constant growth in whatever you're doing. Mm-hmm. What's a way to win in business? You don't. You just stay in it longer.
Yeah.
That is winning. So to say that someone is doing well right now is based on an arbitrary projection, arbitrary set points. You can't always determine the success of a business by how much money they've made. It's how much money they made in a certain amount of time.
Okay.
It's the growth, the impact, their why, what is the core of their why, and how they have shown it throughout the years. Because someone could come out and say, I want to do this for a year. This is my why. I want to make this amount, and it just be done after that.
No, yeah.
But you won't remember that. You won't. It's not a legacy. It's not meaningful. You don't get purpose. You don't get your passion out of it. So with the Coach mindset came from thinking from a different perspective. You want to put yourself in someone else's shoes. You want to think about those three aspects: understanding the other person, making every decision based on not just logic, but emotion and logic mixed. I don't like picking one or the other. You can think logically or emotionally, but you don't have to act one or the other. You can mix both. And then, knowing it's an infinite game. That is one of the most important aspects that we have to realize and understand is the infinite game of the world, and knowing that it's not short term. So someone agreed that, explaining the infinite game a little bit more, someone agreed that we test the profits or we test the growth of a business in a year. That's usually just done because that's when we pay our taxes.
Okay, yeah.
But who really sets that? Why not 5, 10, 15 years? Why not test it long term? Why are we testing if I can hit a certain projection in a year So most companies, they will go up and down based on whatever's going on in the business. And in the right day, at the right time, they'll hit their mark. Yep. That person, even if it's not a business, that person or that group of people, that CEO, proprietor, anybody, they're going to get a bonus because they hit the projection.
Yeah.
But you have another company over here that's not too highs or lows. They're doing what they need to. That no one's getting fired or quitting. That everyone's doing what they're supposed to do. Morale is up, and at the right time, the wrong day at the wrong time, they're just short of hitting their bonus, and they don't get promoted. They don't get that bonus. We promote finite mindset thinking as opposed to infinite mindset thinking. We know they're going to hit their mark. They're just going to take 14 months instead of 12.
Okay.
And they know they're going to last longer because they're not going up and down. You know how many different proprietors or different GMs get cycled through food?
Oh, yes.
Cycled through restaurants or even business itself? It's because life changes and whys change. Your why is going to change.
Yeah.
You have to be able to stick with the root of your why. Mm-hmm. So if your why is to help people and to provide an opportunity for people, you think it'll just stop at business? You think it'll just stop at restaurant? You're going to take your why and put it in other opportunities.
Yeah.
Know what I mean? So in doing that, you have to remember your why and take that with you wherever you go. Instead of just being finite, hitting your promotion, or the next quarter you don't hit the promotion. You're like, this ain't for me. Quit and go and try to do something else. Because you know you can do better at that.
Yeah.
So it's keeping those three things in mind are really, really important when doing anything in life. Because you can apply it to everything, even in relationships. Someone doesn't just wake up and say, I love you.
Yeah.
They don't. It's an accumulation of all the little small things that you do.
Yeah. It has happened before, though.
Yeah, but
We ain't dating no more.
That's the difference between love and not love. You know what I mean?
Love and lust.
It just depends on your definition of love.
Yeah.
But in these next upcoming podcasts, our goal is going to bring the mindsets of Coach and the coaches that come on the podcast, go over different books, different ways to help, and just different alternatives that you can pursue instead of just following what society wants you to.
Fully.
And we want to incorporate the understanding the world, so we're trying to bring a better understanding to people at Coach. Making all your decisions binary, whether they're bad or good, you're going to act in them, accept them. They're bad, you move on. They're good, you take advantage of them. You grow off of it.
Yes.
You grow off both, honestly.
Yeah, that was literally my notes right here. The advantages and growing on them, the leverage that you can get from those advantages. Physically, it's great.
And then also the infinite thinking. Thinking infinitely is so important.
I like that too.
And we have to remember that. So I think our first step in going to do that is rereading this book. I've already read it a couple times already, but this book called How to Win Friends and Influence People. A lot of people, when they go through business, they go through life, they go through friendships, relationships, literally wake up in the morning and talk to their friends. They don't know how to communicate. They don't know how to give they don't know how to do effective confrontation, give and receive feedback, how to grow as people. And that's because they don't know how to communicate. We do all our communication through texting, emailing, things like that, instead of actually talking to someone. The facial gestures, the tone of voice. You're able to read and pick up on different things by doing that. And the book that we're going to be going over currently, we're going to read it and go through maybe each chapter, maybe read a couple chapters, come on, and really put these ways of growing into practice and how they can help you in the business world, in the world itself.
Yes. Perfect.
And it's How to Win Friends and Influence People. If you want to get the book while we go over it, go ahead. It's on Amazon. You can listen to it on a podcast. You can literally find it anywhere. It's been around for 80 years in printing. Like, this is not a new book. It's been around for almost 100 years. Get this. We're going to be going through this, whether it be me and Michael or me and other people. This is going to be big, and you all are going to want to be a part of it. I'm excited to bring this to you all, to be able to help you grow as people and individuals, and hopefully you all can help other people grow and either turn them on to this podcast, or maybe this podcast helps you create your own podcast or your own television show or your own way of helping people. That is the goal, is we want to build a legacy of people building a legacy. That's what we want, to lead leaders and to inspire youth. I can't wait to bring you all on to the next episode. This is going to be a great time. Thank you, Michael. I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up here. They got to know a little bit about you, what you're going to be doing in the near future, and how you're going to change the world, because that's what you're going to end up doing. Like, plain and simple, you're going to change the world. But I'll see you all next time. We are out right here on the Coach Mindset.
Thank you for having me, man. Thanks.
See y'all.